Unidentified Warship signal confirms it's human and armed. HFY. HFY Sci-fi Story, the twin suns of Red Mesa hung low over the horizon, casting long, dusty shadows across the rocky landscape. The small colony nestled in the valley had seen better days. Its metal buildings were patched with old panels, solar arrays tilted in uneven angles, and the wind often carried the taste of rusted iron. Still, life went on. Farmers tended small hydroponic gardens, engineers maintained the aging communications towers, and children ran between the domes with laughter echoing against the hills. Among the colony's residents, Jax Calder stood out. Broad-shouldered and sunburned, he had the look of someone who had spent decades chasing horizons, on both land and in space. Once a space ranger, Jax had retired to Red Mesa to carry cargo between settlements on the fringe. He liked the quiet, the predictable rhythm of work, and the way the desert could keep secrets hidden for decades. That quiet was about to break. Jax leaned against the railing of the observation tower, scanning the night sky with an old but trusty radar screen. Most of the signals were predictable: routine satellites, passing freighters, or tiny rock fragments orbiting the planet. But tonight, there was something different. A faint ping, pulsing steadily in a rhythm that was almost human, almost deliberate. "What in the stars?" he muttered, adjusting the focus. The signal was unidentified. It wasn't listed in any official registry, and it wasn't a known natural object. More concerning, the readings suggested it was a large craft, moving slowly but deliberately through space. It wasn't just nearby. It was heading straight for Red Mesa. Jax's first instinct was caution. The frontier was no stranger to strange signals. Old war relics, rogue satellites, or pirate transmissions. But this was different. It was human, the scan confirmed, and it carried defensive systems. Not just warning lights or minor shields, but real armaments, though inactive. The ship was old, built in a style long forgotten by current human space fleets. Human and armed, he whispered, shaking his head. The thought made the hairs on his neck rise. Not aggressive, at least not yet, but capable, certainly. Jax rushed down to the communications hub, where Tolly, the colony's cybernetics engineer, was tinkering with the console. Her short hair stuck up in every direction, a reflection of the constant static energy that seemed to follow her everywhere. "Tolly, pull up the new signal on the analyzer," Jax said, sliding into the chair beside her. Tolly's fingers flew over the keyboard, her screen lighting up with strange symbols and telemetry data. "That's not from any fleet we know," she said slowly. "Wait, these markings, Jax, this is old human tech. From the early exploratory fleets. Some of these designs were considered lost in the outer colonies." "Lost?" Jax asked, narrowing his eyes. "Lost," Tolly confirmed. "Which means, if this ship is heading here, it shouldn't even exist anymore." Jax's stomach tightened. A warship that shouldn't exist, heading for a frontier planet, carrying active weapon systems. Even if it was unarmed now, it could still cause chaos, confusion, fear, maybe even destruction if it misjudged the situation. Before either of them could speak again, the signal shifted. A message flashed across the screen in plain text. "Greetings, seeking the Keeper of the Frontier." Jax stared at the words, disbelief mixing with caution. "It's talking to us." "Talking?" Tolly echoed, frowning. "But who or what does it mean by Keeper of the Frontier? That's almost like it knows about Red Mesa." The message repeated 3 times, each more insistent.
The colony began to stir.
Workers peered out of windows, children pressed their noses against the glass domes, and even old Mose, the colony's historian, shuffled into the hub with curiosity twinkling in his eyes. "Keeper of the Frontier?" Mose muttered, leaning on his cane. His voice was soft but carried authority. "That phrase, I've read about it in the old chronicles. Some of the earliest colonists used it to describe those who protected the outer settlements from dangers, pirates, rogue AI, even wild terrain. But a ship? That's new." Jax rubbed his face, trying to calm the rising tension. "We need to know if it's friendly. And if it isn't, well, we need a plan." Tully nodded, typing rapidly. "I can try to communicate back, but it might take time to decode its full message system. Old ships like this, if it really is from the exploratory fleets, use encryption that hasn't been standard in centuries." "Do it," Jax said, his voice firm. "Let's find out if it's friend. Or something else." Hours passed in tense silence as Tally worked. The radar showed the ship growing larger, closer to Red Mesa's orbit. But the colony didn't panic. Years on the frontier had taught them patience. They waited, watched, and prepared. Finally, Tali's fingers danced over the keyboard one last time. "It's responding," she said. The screen flickered, then displayed a new message. "Fear not. We come in peace. We only seek guidance." Jax exhaled, relief washing over him, but it was mixed with awe. "Guidance? From us?" Tali shrugged. "It must recognize the colony as the most capable settlement nearby. Maybe it scanned us, our communications, our records. Something in our systems made it think we're—" Moses' eyes gleamed. "Then perhaps we are part of something bigger, something humanity has long forgotten." Jax felt a thrill of excitement he hadn't felt in years. The frontier had always been dangerous, unpredictable. But this was different. This was discovery, the kind that made legends. And for once, it wasn't about fighting pirates or fixing broken engines. It was about connection, knowledge, and perhaps a new chapter for all of humanity. By the time the twin suns dipped below the horizon completely, painting the desert in deep shades of violet and gold, the colony had made a collective decision. They would welcome the warship, learn from it, and see what mysteries it carried. As night fell, Jack stepped back onto the observation deck. The stars were brighter than ever. Somewhere out there, the ship moved silently, holding secrets that had been lost for centuries. He could almost hear the hum of its engines through the emptiness of space, a lullaby of adventure waiting to be unraveled. And then, just as he was about to step back inside, the radar blipped one final, sharp pulse. Another message appeared. "Prepare, Keeper of the Frontier. Your journey begins at dawn." Jax felt a shiver of anticipation. The frontier was calling, not with danger, but with discovery. And this time, it wasn't just Red Mesa that would be part of the story. Humanity itself might have a second chance, guided by a ship from the past. The night on Red Mesa was alive with whispers and anticipation. And somewhere beyond the stars, a long-lost human warship drifted closer, its presence a promise of adventure, knowledge, and hope. The frontier would never be the same again. Dawn broke over Red Mesa, spilling pale orange light across the dusty plains. The colony stirred early. Birds chirped in the distant canyons, wind rustled the solar panels, and children ran along narrow walkways between domes. Something extraordinary was approaching. Something extraordinary was approaching. Jax Calder, dressed in his worn cargo jacket and wide-brimmed hat, stood on the observation deck, scanning the horizon with binoculars. The warship was still distant, a faint glint against the light of the rising suns, but it had moved closer. Its silhouette was unlike anything he had ever seen. Angular yet elegant, with faint blue energy lines pulsing along its hull. It was alive, almost breathing. "Tali," Jax called as he headed toward the communication hub. "How long before we can reply properly?" Tali, already at her console, looked up. Her eyes were bright with focus. "Almost there. The ship is old, so it uses a signal language that's complicated. It's not just words, it's patterns, sequences, almost like music. But I'm close to cracking it. Once I do, we can send a clear message back." "Good," Jax said, resting a hand on the edge of the console. "We need to understand them before anyone gets nervous. The colony will start panicking if they think an armed ship is about to land." Tali smiled slightly. "It won't hurt to have some excitement, right? Besides, this is history in the making. Who gets a chance to meet a long-lost human warship?" Jax chuckled, though his mind remained focused. Excitement was one thing, but responsibility was another. The frontier could be unforgiving. By mid-morning, Jax had gathered a small team to accompany him on the initial reconnaissance mission. They weren't soldiers, there were no guns or armor, but they were skilled and resourceful. Tali, the cybernetics engineer, would handle communications and data. Hawk, an ex-pilot with quick reflexes and a mechanical arm, would navigate and control the hovercraft. Old Mose, the historian, would observe, take notes, and help interpret anything ancient. Together, they made an unlikely team, but that was the frontier way. Adaptability mattered more than titles. They climbed into Jax's hovercraft, a sturdy vehicle patched together from old freighter parts. Its engines hummed as it lifted off the ground, dust swirling below. The craft glided over Red Mesa's canyons and mesas, following the warship's slow path through the sky. As they approached, the ship's scale became clear. It was massive, longer than any freighter Jax had piloted, yet it moved gracefully, almost as if it were aware of their presence. The energy lines along its hull pulsed brighter with each mile. "Look at that! Hawk said, gripping the railing of the hovercraft. His mechanical arm clicked softly as he adjusted the controls. I've flown near some big freighters, but nothing like this. It's alive. Alive in the sense it has AI, Tali said. Or alive in the sense it can think for itself? Hard to tell. Either way, it's impressive. Old Mose squinted at the ship. It reminds me of the legends. The old exploratory fleets were said to have vessels capable of preserving themselves for centuries, powered by advanced AI. Many thought the stories were myths, but this could be one of those ships. Jax nodded, keeping his focus on the horizon. Myths or not, we need to make contact safely. Let's see what it wants. The hovercraft followed the ship to a quiet plateau where Red Mesa's air was thin and dry. The warship hovered in orbit above, a silent sentinel, then lowered a small landing beacon, a glowing orb that hovered just above the ground. It pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Tali stepped forward, her eyes wide. It's inviting us. Jax frowned. Inviting, yes, but why? What does it need from us? Before anyone could answer, the beacon projected a holographic interface, shimmering in the morning light. Shapes formed, patterns shifting with a rhythm that was almost musical.
Tali gasped. It's communicating visually.
Look at the sequences. They're a kind of logic puzzle. It's testing us, seeing if we can understand and respond. Old Mose rubbed his chin. A test, yes. The old fleets were cautious. They wanted to ensure only those capable of understanding their knowledge could approach. They didn't want their technology to fall into unprepared hands. Jack stepped closer, studying the patterns. Then let's show it we're ready. Working together, Tali, Jax, Hawk, and Mose deciphered the sequences, sending their answers through a simple code the beacon could understand. Each correct response made the light pulse brighter, almost as if the ship were acknowledging them. After several tense minutes, the beacon projected a single phrase in clear English. Welcome, keepers of the frontier. Enter with trust. The words echoed in the group's minds more than in the air. Hawk whistled softly. That's something else? It trusts us. Old Mose smiled. Or it has faith in the human spirit. That has always been our strongest trait. Jax felt a thrill of excitement. Tali, can we open a path for boarding? Tali nodded. Yes, but we need to link the hovercraft systems with the beacon. It will guide us safely aboard AS. The process took nearly an hour. The beacon extended a light bridge, a shimmering pathway of energy that connected the ground to a small docking bay on the warship. It was stable, though faintly wobbly in the wind. Jax took a deep breath. This was it, the first step onto a ship that had drifted through centuries of silence. Stay sharp, he said to the team. No rush, but no hesitation. One step at a time. They ascended the bridge, the light beneath their feet humming gently. As they approached the docking bay, the ship's massive doors opened with a slow, deliberate sweep. Inside, the ship was illuminated by soft blue light. The walls were smooth, metallic, and almost organic in shape, curving like the inside of a shell. Tali ran her hands along the panels, marveling. This design, it's centuries ahead of our best tech. Look at the energy conduits. They're self-repairing. Hawk nodded. And quiet. Not a sound except for the hum of its own systems. It's... Old Mose's eyes sparkled. And look at the inscriptions. Ancient human writing, from the earliest colonies. This ship carries our history, our culture. We're walking into a time capsule. Jax felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. We need to document everything, but also respect it. This ship isn't just technology. It's humanity's past, waiting for us to understand it. As they moved deeper, the ship's AI, or whatever presence guided it, projected another message. Words floated in the air. We seek knowledge, not conflict. Your courage and curiosity have brought you here. Follow the path. Learn what you can. Jax felt a chill of excitement. Adventure. The frontier had always been about survival, exploration, and discovery. But this was different. They weren't chasing treasure or escaping danger. They were walking into history itself. The ship guided them through winding corridors, rooms filled with artifacts, and control centers that pulsed with soft blue light. Every corner revealed a story, a mystery, a piece of humanity long forgotten. By the time they reached the main observation deck inside the warship, the team could see the frontier spread below them. Red Mesa looked small from above, a tiny cluster of life clinging to a dusty planet. And beyond, the vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with stars. Think of the possibilities, Tali whispered. Maps, technologies, colonies, we didn't even know existed, all waiting for us to explore. Jax looked out at the stars, a smile tugging at his lips. The frontier isn't just here on Red Mesa anymore. It's everywhere. And this ship, it's our guide. Old Mose nodded. A journey for the brave and the curious. Humanity always pushes forward, even when forgotten. The team exchanged glances. Fear had been replaced with excitement. The unknown was no longer intimidating. It was inviting. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the warship, it seemed to acknowledge them in return. The frontier ride had begun. The warship's interior felt alive. Soft blue lights pulsed along the curved walls, casting gentle shadows that seemed to move like a slow tide. The corridors were smooth, almost organic, and hummed with energy that was quiet but constant. Jax Calder led the team carefully, his boots making soft thuds against the metallic floor. Every corner they turned revealed panels, screens, and inscriptions older than any human in the colony had ever seen. "Feels like walking inside a living memory," Old Mose whispered. His cane tapped lightly against the floor as he leaned close to a series of glowing inscriptions. These markings, they tell a story of humanity's early explorers. Some of these colonies were abandoned decades ago. Others never even existed in our records. Tali was already at one of the consoles, her fingers gliding over holographic keys. The ship's AI isn't just functional. Every time we move, it seems to adjust itself, guiding us toward what it wants us to see. She paused, eyes wide. It's like it's aware we're here, but it's testing us in the kindest way. Knowledge puzzles, logic paths, pattern recognition. No traps, no danger, just challenges that want to see if we understand. Hawk ran a hand along the edge of the wall, letting the soft glow reflect on his mechanical arm. "I've piloted freighters, shuttlecraft, even battle cruisers, but nothing's ever spoken to me like this. It's inviting, but mysterious. I feel like it's older than time." Jack stayed close to the center of the group, scanning the displays. His mind raced with questions. Why had this ship returned after centuries of silence? What had caused it to activate now, and why had it sought Red Mesa specifically? He sensed a purpose, something beyond mere exploration. The first major discovery came in a room filled with holographic star maps. Constellations shifted as if alive, displaying not only known space but distant, hidden systems. A faint blue pulse highlighted a cluster of stars far beyond the settled colonies. "Look at that," Tali said, pointing. "This region, these planets, they aren't on any official maps. The AI knows them, maybe even visited them. Some could be habitable." Old Mose's eyes widened. Centuries ago, these systems were recorded in secret. During the early human expansion, most of that knowledge was lost. This ship, it preserved it all. It's a living archive. Jax felt a thrill run through him. Then it's more than just a ship. It's a record of humanity's ambition. And now it's here, offering it to us. As they explored deeper, the team reached what looked like a central control chamber. Panels floated in midair, displaying data in geometric patterns, graphs, and ancient symbols. A soft hum filled the room, rhythmic and almost soothing. Suddenly, the AI addressed them, not in words on a screen, but in a gentle, almost musical voice that seemed to come from all directions. "Welcome, keepers of the frontier. You have proven curiosity and patience. You are ready to learn." Tali's fingers hovered over the nearest console. "It's recognizing us, rewarding us for solving its puzzles. The AI has consciousness, but it doesn't act like a human. It thinks differently, but clearly it values exploration." Hawk tilted his head. "So all these weapons, they're only for protection?" "Correct," the voice responded. "These systems exist to defend, not attack. The frontier is dangerous, and some threats cannot be predicted. But your courage is noted, and you are considered allies." Jax nodded slowly. "I see. It wants to test, teach, and preserve. Nothing here wants harm." Old Mose tapped a nearby panel. "Look at this. These archives, they contain histories of lost colonies, technological designs, even early terraforming experiments. Imagine what humanity could do with this knowledge." Tali's eyes shone. "And all of it is compatible with our current tech. It's a bridge between our present and the past we never knew existed." The group moved on, their curiosity deepening with every step. They came to a chamber filled with small pods, each containing something that looked like a sleeping astronaut. The AI's voice filled the room again. These are explorers from the earliest fleets, preserved for long-term travel. They await revival when humanity reconnects. Jax's eyebrows rose. You mean humans in stasis? Frozen for centuries? Affirmative. Preserved to ensure survival, knowledge transfer, and expansion of humanity. Only those prepared and understanding may awaken them. Old Mose shook his head, awestruck. Centuries, humanity's pioneers, sleeping through time, and this ship has watched over them. Incredible. Tali stepped forward, lightly touching one pod's control panel. If these explorers wake, they could share knowledge lost to the generations. We could learn from people who walked the stars long before us. Our frontier isn't just here, it's everywhere. Hawk exhaled slowly, and we're the first to meet them centuries later. That's heavy, in a good way. Jax felt the weight too. They weren't just adventurers. They were guardians now, responsible for handling this knowledge wisely. They continued exploring and reached a chamber that seemed to function as a living archive, filled with floating holograms of plants, animals, and ecological systems. It was as if the ship had preserved not only human knowledge, but the natural history of planets visited during long voyages. Look at this, Tali said, spinning a hologram of a strange tree-like organism. It's alien, but fully documented. These logs could help terraforming or environmental projects here on Red Mesa. Old Mose whispered, This is a reminder. Humanity isn't just about survival. It's about curiosity, adaptation, and care. Every system we encounter, every planet we touch, it leaves a mark. Jax moved to a console that displayed a rotating holographic map of Red Mesa and nearby systems. He noticed small markers, faintly glowing. What are these, he asked. Signals of potential colonies. Systems humans intended to reach but never did. Paths once lost, now rediscovered. Jax felt excitement surge. This could change everything. We could reconnect lost settlements, find resources, explore new planets. We have a map to the stars that was hidden for centuries. The team spent hours exploring, documenting, and learning. Every chamber revealed new wonders. Devices that could repair themselves, sustainable energy systems far beyond what Red Mesa had, and even star charts showing routes to habitable worlds. Yet the most intriguing was a small chamber at the very heart of the ship, glowing softly. It was simple, just a chair, a small console, and a holographic star map projected above. This is the heart of the ship, the AI explained. Here decisions were made, and here the ship chose its path through the centuries. The heart is connected to every system, every archive. Those who understand it can guide humanity's next steps. Jack sat in the chair, feeling the hum of energy beneath him. It's like sitting inside a mind. The ship isn't just metal and circuits. It's thinking, observing, remembering. Tali leaned close. And it trusts us to learn, not misuse. It's teaching us responsibility as well as knowledge, Old Mose whispered. Every frontier needs keepers. This ship has chosen us as theirs. The past and future are tied together now. Jax looked at the team. Excitement, wonder, and a sense of duty shone in their eyes. They were no longer just explorers. They were custodians of history, carriers of human knowledge that had survived centuries. As the team rested in the heart chamber, the AI's voice filled the room one final time for the day. Tomorrow, the path continues. You have learned, you have proven. Humanity waits beyond the stars. Be ready. Jax exhaled slowly. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but it was accompanied by exhilaration. The frontier had always been about discovery, and now they had a guide, a mentor, and a reminder of what humans were capable of, even centuries later. Hawk stretched his arms. Well, that was everything I could have hoped for. Ancient explorers, hidden colonies, star maps, and to think this all started with a signal. Tali smiled, and we followed it. Patience, curiosity, teamwork. It brought us here. Imagine what we can do tomorrow. Old Mose's eyes sparkled. We are part of a story larger than ourselves. Humanity's reach is returning, and we are witnesses to its revival. Jack stood, gazing at the holographic stars. The frontier wasn't just a distant desert on Red Mesa anymore. It was the entire galaxy, waiting to be understood, explored, and cherished. And the warship, the living ship of humanity's past, was their guide, their teacher, and their silent companion. Tomorrow would bring more questions, more mysteries, and more wonder. But tonight, they had seen what centuries could preserve. They had touched the history of humanity, and it was alive in the pulse of a single ship floating silently among the stars. The frontier, Jax realized, was not simply about survival. It was about curiosity, courage, and connection. And with this ship, humanity's light in the darkness had been rekindled. The twin suns of Red Mesa rose slowly, their pale light stretching across the dusty valleys and mesas. The colony was alive with the quiet hum of early morning routines, but today was different. Something extraordinary had returned, something that would change Red Mesa forever. Jax Calder stood on the observation deck, binoculars in hand, and watched the warship hovering above the colony. Its sleek hull glimmered in the sunlight, energy lines pulsing softly almost like a heartbeat. The ship had become more than a mystery. It was a guardian, a guide, and now, a symbol of humanity's resilience. Beside him, Tali adjusted her portable console. "We're ready to transmit what we learned," she said. Her eyes sparkled. "All the knowledge, all the archives, it's ready to be shared with the colony. And beyond, if we can expand communication." Jax nodded. "Then let's make sure it counts." Red Mesa has always been small, but today, we can inspire more than just this planet. Humanity has a second chance out there, and we're standing at the edge of it. Inside the colony, the townsfolk gathered in the main square, a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation on their faces. Farmers, engineers, teachers, and children alike craned their necks toward the sky as the warship hovered silently above. Holographic projections shimmered down from the ship, displaying star charts, ecological data, and images of long-lost human colonies. Old Mose shuffled to the center, leaning on his cane, and addressed the crowd. "People of Red Mesa, what you see before you is not a threat, but a gift. A long-lost warship from humanity's earliest fleets has returned. It carries knowledge, history, and technology that can guide us to rediscover lost worlds and forgotten colonies. And it has chosen us as its first companions." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Children pointed at the projections with wide eyes, imagining planets full of forests, rivers, and mountains. Engineers whispered excitedly about energy systems and starship designs. The colony had never seen anything like this before. Tali stepped forward, projecting a sequence of images. "The ship contains maps of systems humans intended to explore centuries ago. Some are habitable, some hold resources that can help us grow, and some may have other colonies waiting for us." Hawk, leaning on the edge of the projection, added, "It also has defensive technology, not for war, but for protection. It shows how humans can survive in the far reaches of space without harming others. Knowledge, not conflict." Jax raised his hand for attention. "This is a chance to expand the frontier responsibly. We can explore, learn, and grow together. But we do it carefully, with curiosity and respect. The frontier is not just the desert below us. It's the stars above, and humanity has always thrived when it reaches for them." That afternoon, the team prepared the hovercraft to carry smaller drones and exploration pods toward the star systems highlighted by the warship. The AI had provided precise coordinates, including previously unknown habitable planets and potential colonies. Tali's fingers danced across the controls. The drones are equipped to gather data, analyze atmospheres, and even scan for human life signs. "We'll start slowly, system by system." Hawk adjusted his mechanical arm, checking the hovercraft's navigation systems. "We're not just exploring, we're reconnecting the threads of humanity that were lost over centuries. Every planet we reach is a new story waiting to be written," Old Mose added softly, "and we must remember that each discovery carries responsibility. Humanity thrived because our ancestors respected life, knowledge, and curiosity. We continue that tradition today." Jax nodded. "Exactly. This is more than adventure. It's stewardship. The frontier needs keepers, and we've been chosen to guide its next steps." Over the next few days, the team worked tirelessly, coordinating with the colony to transmit information from the warship. The projections displayed early maps, historical records, and technological designs that the colonists could begin to implement. Energy systems were adapted for Red Mesa's domes, communication networks were expanded, and the first steps toward interstellar exploration were taken. Children gathered around Tali as she showed them holograms of plants from distant worlds. "See this one?" she said. "It can grow in dry conditions, just like Red Mesa. Imagine what we could do if we planted it here." A young boy named Liko raised his hand. "Can we go see these places?" Jack smiled. "One day, yes. But for now, we prepare, learn, and understand. The frontier is patient. It waits for those who are ready. Hawk, meanwhile, guided the construction of small drones that would explore planets without risking human lives. "These little scouts are our eyes and hands in the stars," he said. "They'll tell us which places are safe and interesting before we ever step foot there." Old Mose watched the excitement and nodded. This is the true spirit of the frontier: curiosity, caution, and courage. Humanity will grow stronger because of this moment. One evening, as the twin suns set and cast long shadows across the colony, the team gathered on the observation deck again. The warship hovered silently above, its energy lines glowing softly against the dusky sky. Jax looked up and whispered, "We've only just begun, but I feel like this is the start of something much bigger than Red Mesa." Tally smiled. "We've learned so much, and yet there's so much more waiting. New worlds, lost knowledge, and perhaps even the explorers preserved on the ship. We're standing at the edge of history." Hawk stretched and grinned. "Feels like riding the frontier, but instead of deserts, it's the stars. And the adventure isn't over, it's just changing scale." Old Mose leaned on his cane and gazed at the ship. Humanity has always thrived by reaching out, exploring, and connecting. Today, we continue that legacy. This ship has brought us more than knowledge. It has brought us hope. Jax nodded. "Hope, yes, and responsibility. We must guide this knowledge wisely. We must ensure it benefits everyone, not just ourselves. That's what being a keeper of the frontier truly means." As the night deepened, a soft pulse of light emanated from the warship. The AI's voice, calm and melodic, filled the observation deck. "The frontier awakens. Knowledge and life await. Humanity's path is yours to explore. Continue with courage, curiosity, and respect." Jax closed his eyes for a moment. "We promise." The stars twinkled above, vast and infinite. Red Mesa was small, a single outpost on the edge of the galaxy, but now it was connected to a living legacy of human achievement. The frontier was no longer just land or planet. It was the entire universe waiting for the people of Red Mesa to reach, understand, and grow. In the following weeks, the colony transformed. The knowledge from the warship allowed them to improve daily life, expand settlements, and begin preparations for interstellar exploration. Farmers grew crops adapted from alien worlds, engineers constructed more advanced energy grids, and children learned about the wider galaxy through holographic lessons. Jax, Tally, Hawk, and Old Mose became guides and mentors, sharing knowledge, interpreting the warship's archives, and preparing the colony for the adventures ahead. Every day brought new discoveries: maps to lost colonies, records of forgotten technologies, and reminders of humanity's enduring spirit. And the warship remained above, a silent guardian, its energy pulsing like a heartbeat over Red Mesa. It was not just a relic of the past. It was a teacher, a partner, and a symbol of hope. Humanity had returned to the frontier, stronger and wiser, guided by the knowledge of those who had come before. One morning, Jack stood at the edge of the colony, looking toward the horizon. The twin suns shone on Red Mesa's mesas, highlighting the changes the colony had begun to make. Children laughed as they experimented with new technology. Engineers tested drones designed to explore distant planets, and Tali coordinated new scans from the warship's archives. Jax felt a surge of pride. The frontier was alive with possibility. Humanity was alive, not just surviving, but thriving. And this was only the beginning. He turned to Hawk and Tali. "Tomorrow we'll begin sending probes to the first system the warship highlighted, one step at a time." Hawk grinned. "One small step for Red Mesa, one giant leap for the frontier." Tully laughed softly. "And centuries in the making. Who would have thought a signal would change everything?" Old Mose nodded solemnly. "It's a reminder. Humanity never stops reaching, never stops learning, and never stops connecting. The frontier is wide, and we are its keepers." Jax looked up at the stars, the warship shining above like a beacon. "The journey continues," he said softly, "and humanity will rise stronger than ever." As night fell on Red Mesa, the colony settled beneath the stars, the twin suns long gone, leaving the glittering cosmos in view. The frontier had awakened, and with the warship above, the people of Red Mesa knew that they were part of something far greater than themselves. Galaxy waited, and humanity was ready.